Welcome to this lesson on farm planning. Farming Simulator can be played a variety of ways, and is what makes the sim one of my favorites. Not only are there a variety of activities, you can set a variety of goals, and I find myself typically having several different games running, and the type of gameplay I want to enjoy that session will determine what I fire up. However, this also makes Farming Simulator one of the most difficult sims to analyze and optimize. I am going to share some of the tools and techniques I utilize to understand what I want to target. So if you want to install a mod that allows you to just give yourself a lot of money and buy equipment and land with abandon, financial management be damned, you can do that, and likely your focus will then be on tasks where your decisions are mainly time-driven. On the other end, if you want a survival-type experience where you remove all money from your farm, that creates more of a focus on how to generate income, and your pacing may also determine what you work on. In the space in between, you can create infinite combinations that are only limited by your imagination and creativity. I'm going to teach you how to obtain data as you play, and how to turn that data into knowledge that helps you make decisions around your farm. One of the first things I suggest you find or build for yourself is a work time calculator. Here I am showing you a simple version I have built for myself in two formats, depending on how or where you are playing, using either metric or imperial units. As the game provides working with of equipment in meters regardless of settings, be aware you need to convert from meters to feet in using these conventions. The simplest target is to determine how much time it will take to work a given single unit of field with the equipment you are evaluating. This is either 1 acre or 1 hectare. I show here the same field information in both calculations, just modified for measurement method, and as expected, this time is off slightly owing to conversion inaccuracies. The goal is to get reasonably accurate, not spot on, as a difference of 1/100th of an hour in over 8 hours is not relevant. This is certainly because the intent is to provide an estimate, as the lost time is not terribly predictable. I use farming industry standards, but you could adjust the slippage percentage by testing your gameplay against the calculation. The values I have highlighted in gold are the input points, and all other fields are then calculated from that. Given that Farming Simulator accurately simulates speed in the game, a real-world working time calculation translates well into the game. So what do you do with this information? I utilize this to make two main types of decisions in Farming Simulator. First, to determine what impact a field will have on my gameplay time requirements. You can set up a version of this, as I show here, to have a calculation set for each of your standard implements. So, for example, your cultivator, seeder, spreader, sprayer, and harvester. I have also updated the interactivity here to use A1 to enter my field size and E1 to enter the passes needed. So as the example shows, I have a 30-acre field, and I am playing the game with seasons, which requires 3 fertilizer passes. If I was playing the game without seasons, then I only need 2 passes for fertilizer, so I can change this to 2. And you can see the appropriate decrease in time. If you played with precision farming and only needed 1 pass, you would adjust accordingly. The purpose of this demonstration is to provide you ideas on how you can build your tools to align with your gameplay preferences. You could, for example, remove the column for the spreader because you play with precision farming, but apply fertilizer with your seeder. And perhaps you also have a seeder that direct drills, so you do not need to cultivate. What I gain with a tool like this is the ability to make decisions based on key information. I can see that currently my largest time focus goes to cultivating, which can help me determine if the premium needed for a direct drill I am contemplating purchasing is worthwhile. If I want to cut my work time in half each harvest cycle, this would be the place to focus my spending. Another decision you can use these calculations for is to determine which one of various implements to buy. You will find that the cost for wider implements tends to not be similarly offset by an aligned decrease in working time. So for example, on my farm in FSN, I tend to run smaller equipment because I determined the time savings would be about 30% for a cost increase of 80% on my planter, for example. So I decided to use the smaller planter and spend money in other areas instead. I am sure you will think of other applications, and I'd encourage you to share in the comments below so everyone can benefit from your idea. A second tool I find incredibly interesting for long-term games is a finance tracker. Here I am showing you the sheet I use for my FSN farm, but the exact same spreadsheet can be used for a single-player game that you are focusing on. Once you have it set up, it becomes a matter of a few minutes to get it ready for a new game you want to track. As shown here, I can compare crop types or the same crops across harvests. In a non-seasons game, the tabs would not be years, but simply the consecutive harvests, which is what makes it difficult to make a single template that fits all purposes. If I was to use this for that type of gameplay, I would remove the crop to sections, as double cropping does not apply. Another thing I am adding to an updated version of this tool is the size of each field, which will allow me to see the cost and profit per acre and see what the impact is of choosing to plant a crop, say, on field 89 versus field 98. Removing the field size is a potential for confusion. I am doing this because with precision farming and the soil types, there is real variation that can be optimized even further than the crop rotation available in seasons. However, the interplay with consumables like fertilizer and lime to adjust nitrogen and pH may introduce results that may be hard to see without data to examine. Having these types of information available drives my decisions on which fields to purchase. If I can see that a field has a similar soil composition to another field I already own and have data on, I can more comfortably determine if the purpose I have for that field and the crop types I plan to use it for will work well or not. I may determine to choose one field over another based on this. I may determine the work time it adds into my cycle is not something I can absorb, so I may then choose to do something entirely different with my money. The thing I enjoy is that Farming Simulator is robust enough that I can bring to bear farm management techniques on my virtual farm, and they operate effectively. It gives me what I want from a sim, which is immersion and feeling as if I am getting a realistic experience. I hope this lesson gave you something to think about in the deep dive into farm planning. As always, please add your comments and questions below, and I will do my best to respond. And please subscribe to the channel to allow you to come back and enjoy future content more easily. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.